Let's continue our conversation on some of the most scandalous and controversial works of art of all times. I have started a series on some of the most controversial works of art ever. If you haven't watched the first video where I have already spoken about 2 of these works, check it out and then come back. If you have already seen it, let's go! Hi, this is Amanda Pontes once again at Art for Alt, and I am going to continue my compilation of some of the most controversial works of art of all times. One work that has caused an enormous controversy, and rightfully so, was Myra by Marcus Harvey, and it was made in 1995. First, to understand why this work was so controversial, we have to understand the history behind it, both of this work itself and the woman who was portrayed on it. The woman was Myra Hindley. Along with her boyfriend, she murdered 5 children in England. She not only did that, but they were also severely mistreated by the couple. The couple did to them unthinkable things that I can't even speak of here on YouTube, but I guess that you can probably imagine what I'm referring to. If not, you can search the case. It was a very famous and publicized case back then, and there is still lots of information about it on the internet in case you want to know more about it. But you must only know that they did unthinkable things to these 5 children. They were both arrested, convicted, and the artist eventually did this work, which was a picture of Myra made with children's handprints. Yes, this work was so controversial and it caused such repulsion, so much hatred, both amongst the audience and fellow artists and scholars, that 4 members of the Royal Academy of Arts, where the work was on display, resigned from their position on the board. This work was attacked by audience members with eggs, with paint, and with saliva. People actually spat on this work. The mother of one of Myra's victims, one of the children that were murdered by Myra, placed herself in front of the Royal Academy of Arts protesting against the exhibition of the portrait. Also, Myra herself eventually wrote from prison, personally asking for the work to be removed from exhibition out of respect, not only for her own victims, but also out of respect for families of children who are also victims of different murders and who are the victims of brutality. Understanding this story and understanding that this work, this portrait of her, was made with children handprints, you can understand why it caused such a stir. Rightfully so, right? Another work that caused huge controversy, a more contemporary one, was Peace Christ by Andres Serrano. This one was made in 1987. Historically, representing religious icons and religious figures is not a problem at all. Actually, it is the opposite of a problem. Biblical figures are amongst the most represented characters throughout history, throughout all times. But what was it about this particular representation that caused such a scandal? Well, first of all, it wasn't even a picture of the Christ himself or any other biblical figure or any of the saints. This one was the picture of a crucifix covered in the artist's piss. That's why it has this yellowish golden or goldenish yellow undertone to it. He covered it in his own piss, in his own urine, and photographed it. This was received and understood as a provocation and as disrespect to people's religious beliefs. Well, Andres Serrano said that he didn't want to cause any controversy and he did not mean to disrespect anyone, even so because he was a Christian himself and a believer. But what he was trying to say is that he was trying to remind us of the hypocrisy of those who misuse, misreport, and distort Jesus' words for their own profit or for the mistreatment of others. He was also trying to remind people of the hypocrisy that many times surround the use of religious figures. This caused many people to reject this painting to such a degree that some religious senators of the United States decided to publicly declare themselves against the exhibition of this work. Serrano eventually kind of apologized, and he even addressed the matter that he used urine in this picture. He said that this was a direct reference to the blood of Christ, and he said that both blood and urine are human fluids, and that there shouldn't be a hierarchy between human fluids, that both are just as natural, and that the use of urine shouldn't be a source of controversy or scandal. Another work that also caused a lot of controversy because it was related to religious figures is The Holy Virgin Mary by Chris Ofili from 1996. This Virgin Mary portrays a Madonna as a black woman, and she is surrounded by cuts from pornographic magazines. And this was received with rage, nothing short of rage, especially after it received the Turner Prize in 1995. It caused such an outrage that even Rudolph Giuliani, who was then the mayor of New York, threatened to cut funding for the Brooklyn Museum of Art where the work was on display. The museum did not take it back and they decided to fight back Giuliani, and it became a legal fight, which was seen as blasphemy. Was actually only the artists trying to show us the degradation suffered by black women in highly socially and economically unequal societies such as the United States. He was also trying to make us think about racism in the representation of religious figures. He said that, after all, biblical stories took place in the Middle East. Well, actually, it wasn't back then known as the Middle East. This idea didn't even exist back then. But those stories happened, those characters lived, inhabited the region which is now known as the Middle East. So why were they always represented as Northern European figures? Well, there have been some scientific attempts to get somewhat close to what Jesus would look like, and he surely did not have blonde hair and blue eyes, and he did not look Nordic at all. He looked like a Middle Eastern man probably would. And therefore, if none of us were actually there, and if these stories took place 2021 years ago, why couldn't we represent them in any way that we want? Why couldn't Mary be represented as a black woman? It is this structural racism that he was trying to point. That's what he was trying to show, as well as he was trying to get a black woman. As we know, black women are deeply marginalized in contemporary societies, and place a black woman in the most important position in the Catholic mythology as Mary, the Virgin Mother of Jesus. If you are enjoying this series, continue with me, because there are more videos coming on the way for us to continue talking about some of the most controversial works of art ever. Please subscribe, click on the like button, and if you have any further questions or if you want more information, let me know on the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!